All matters discussed during the show are for informational purposes only. Each individual situation may vary and the opinions expressed here may not apply to everyone. Materials presented are believed to be from reliable sources and no representations can be made as to its accuracy. All ideas and information should be discussed in detail with one of our qualified representatives prior to implementation.
This is the Health and Wealth Radio Network.
Please be seated. Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the College of Nursing and Health Sciences' 5th annual White Coat Ceremony at Auburn University at Montgomery. I am Dr. Jean Luner, Dean and Professor in the College of Nursing and Health Sciences. And I would like to begin our program. I just need to take this for a minute. Ooh. Begin our program by thanking our virtual audience for their participation. As healthcare professionals, we continue to be concerned about the pandemic and the importance of preventing the spread of this terrible disease. We were unable to conduct this ceremony last year, so we are combining last year's new students with this year's new students in our college. And we are most grateful for the technology that we have today, so we have the ability to share this event with you from a distance in order to keep everyone safe. So thank you. And before we begin our ceremony, I would like to recognize our special guests. Dr. Rinal Varma, Provost and Senior Vice Chancellor at AUM, and our practice partners. We're so glad to have you with us, professional colleagues and donors for the College of Nursing and Health Sciences. Thank you for your support of our students and their education. We are so pleased you could join us. Now I would like to thank the faculty in the College of Nursing and Health Sciences for their dedication, commitment, and passion for their work, educating the future leaders in healthcare. Will all faculty members please stand and be recognized? And we are extremely grateful to our generous sponsors who support this event. Our lead sponsor, Baptist Health, thank you so much. Earnest Financial and Health South. Your support makes this event possible, and we truly appreciate your generosity. So let me tell you a little bit about the White Coat Ceremony. This ceremony was established by the Arnold P. Gold Foundation in 1993.
Yeah, let me just make a recap here. Since we were not recording earlier, essentially we're talking to Dr. Kyle Taylor, who is over the department. He's department head for medical and clinical laboratory science at Auburn University Montgomery. And we're talking about clinical laboratory scientists, the folks that do the test for hospitals and the laboratories and the blood work and stuff. So we were talking about the educational purposes of these the ways that they can go through the schools and get the degrees. Back in the old days, they had a lot of 3+1 programs, and I think that's what I went through was a 3+1. But then they started to get into more of a 2+2, which, in other words, 2 years of classroom work and two years of clinical work in the field. So now what they are graduating with is a Bachelor of Science degree still, correct?
In medical laboratory science, correct.
In medical laboratory science. So the degree does not say clinical laboratory science, it says medical laboratory science, is that fair? It doesn't really matter.
At AUM, it's medical laboratory science, but there's been a lot of confusion and misnomers of using clinical laboratory science or medical laboratory science, but we at AUM use medical laboratory science.
Yeah, so they're both the same thing. It's just duplication or a different way of saying something. But essentially, these folks are the ones that run the test and support the physicians in their diagnoses of what's wrong. For example, you know, someone comes into the emergency room and they've got something going on. One of the first things they do is draw blood and send it to the laboratory stat. Stat means it needs turned around quick. They're still using the stat in the emergency rooms and places like that still, I guess, aren't they?
Absolutely. Anything that comes from the emergency room is considered a stat specimen. So it's a priority for us to run that on the instrument first.
Right. So when they get the blood work, the first thing they do is chemistries and the CBCs. CBCs are always ordered. I would assume. I don't think there's any way that they wouldn't order one of those. And then they can make a diagnosis of whether they need to go further with it, and then more work, maybe some more detailed laboratory testing over the next few days to try to diagnose the problem. So in your school in the classroom work, do you have these instruments that they use in the hospitals that you let the students use in the laboratories at AUM now?
So in our hematology laboratory, we have a CBC analyzer where our students can actually learn how to put a specimen on the instrument, run quality control, calibrate it, and actually give out actual patient data. So they get to see a hemoglobin, a hematocrit, a white cell count, a red cell count. So they can see all that. In our chemistry, you know, we can't afford to have a big $200,000 chemistry analyzer, so we have to do things basic manually. So we have a spectrophotometer that all chemistry analyzers have. So they get to work with a manual type test.
Well, that's the basics. And, you know, that's me being an old basic guy. You know, they need to know the basics, because when they get into the clinical lab, they'll be able to have more automation. But if you don't know how to go back to the manual part, you don't know how to run this stuff. So this is you're teaching them from the ground up. That's what it sounds like to me. You're doing a great job. Obviously, these hospitals are hungry for these type of professionals. I've noticed lately that there's a huge demand for all medical personnel, but especially, you know, lately, more unusual demand for clinical lab scientists or medical technologists than normal. I've heard that it's pretty much off the charts. Is this what's going on now, Dr. Taylor?
Absolutely. So I'll give you a perfect example. I just got an email from the VA hospital here in Montgomery. They're wanting to give scholarships to a senior for their very last year, 100% scholarship to pay for their tuition. Plus, it gets even better, David. They're going to get an $1,100 a month stipend for 12 months.
You're kidding.
So that tells you that the demand is out there. I mean, I get calls all the time to fill vacant positions.
So what you're telling me is that they pay your schooling to some extent, and now they pay you a stipend. That's like the good old days of the 60s and 70s when the government was doing it, and then they quit doing that until just obviously recently. I guess this is something new.
Well, it is. It's November 9th is when I got the email, so
That's amazing.
It's fresh off the press.
Well, I would guess some of you folks out there listening to this radio show going, what in the world are they talking about? And I guess, I can understand that. But if you know someone who wants to go to school and become a professional, be a scientist, their title will be scientist, clinical laboratory scientist. They will be they're qualified to do hospital work or clinical work or research work, all kinds of things. They're going to learn how to do everything in a laboratory. They're going to be certified. They're going to have degrees. They can go all the way up to PhDs, which is what Dr. Kyle Taylor is. He's going all the way up. And essentially, there's a lot of opportunity here. But I think what Dr. Taylor's trying to tell everyone is that this is a huge opportunity. So if you know anyone out there who's thinking about where they're going to go, where do they want to place themselves as a profession, this is a very honorable profession because it is directly a right arm of the physician. The physician would be completely lost without these services. It would go back to the archaic days of having, no way of knowing which way to go other than just looking at someone or feeling around. So this has brought us from the old days of prehistoric, kind of things up to the modern times. And it's just a wonderful thing. So would you like to give a contact number, Dr. Taylor, in case someone wanted to call you about this opportunity?
Absolutely. I'd also like to make a note that we are the only undergraduate medical laboratory science program in the state of Alabama. So if you'd like to get in touch with me, my email address is jtaylor, so that's JTAYLOR @aum.edu. My contact number is 334-244-3606. Any questions, please reach out to me.
Of course, if someone forgets the phone number, they can always call the AUM operator and ask them for the laboratory or clinical laboratory division, and they can get through to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So at this point in time, when do the students begin? In other words, when would you be getting enrollees, applications? How's that process work, and when will it be? We got about 4 minutes to fill this in before we go to break. So you can briefly run that down.
So our application process opens in March of each year, and it goes through June 15th. And so we accept one cohort a year, and that's for the fall of each year. So if you meet all the prerequisites and you want to fill out an application, submit it to me. And what we'll do is we'll reach out for an interview and ask you some questions, get to know you just a little bit better.
And if you forget how to get a hold of Dr. Taylor, all you got to do is call me and I'll show you how to get a hold of Dr. Taylor, because I'm a good friend of him. And that always helps to have a good friend in this business, because you never know when you might need something in this profession, and information and stuff like that. But I'm a proud supporter of this program, and I think it's great. I think all the hospitals support this program in this vicinity. How many hospitals are you sending these students to? Certain hospitals? What hospitals are you sending them to right now for their clinical training?
So I'll mention some here locally. We send them to Jackson Hospital, Baptist Hospital South, Baptist Hospital East, the VA here in Montgomery as well, East Alabama Medical Center in Opelika, Mayo Clinic in Jacksonville, Florida. We send them to Huntsville Hospital, Grandview Hospital in Birmingham, Brookwood Hospital in Birmingham, Dothan, Flowers Hospital, and Southeast Health. So we send students just about everywhere and anywhere across the state. And if we can reach out across state lines, we'll do that too as well.
Amazing. Well, so we got about 2 minutes left. 2 minutes. If you'll close this out, Dr. Taylor, just whatever you want to say before we go to break.
I'd like to say some kind words about Earnest Financial. Earnest Financial has been a strong supporter of the White Coat Ceremony. I really appreciate that. We've invited David to come and speak to our graduates to give them some financial advice. And I think it's been really successful for our students to hear that. So thank you, David. I will really appreciate that from AUM. And as a personal friend, thank you.
You're more than welcome.
Please, if you're interested in medical laboratory science, please reach out to me. We are in almost a crisis for graduates to fill vacant positions. If you want a job, all you do is complete our program and you're going to get a job. So,
and the pay is good.
And the pay is really good.
Yeah, good. And you might be lucky and not have to work nights and weekends, but probably not in the beginning. But
not in the beginning. It's usually second shift or third shift.
Right. That's right. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate you coming on our radio show, and looking forward to many more, visits with you. We'd love to have you back, and we'll progress with this so that we can communicate more. And maybe someone would be interested in this and would like to call in, ask questions anytime. I mean, I know about this profession. I was in it, so I know about this profession, and that's one of the reasons why I love supporting it, because it's a wonderful profession, and it will get you where you want to go if you want to be in the medical profession. So thank you, Dr. Taylor, very much. Thank you so much for being on the radio show, and look forward to seeing you more frequently later.
Absolutely. Anytime you need me to come on, just ask.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.
In 1977, the world was shocked to hear that Elvis, yes, the king of rock and roll, had passed away. Well, I don't believe everything I hear on the news, and I've done some looking, and Elvis didn't pass away. I found him living in an assisted living in Slap Out, Alabama, the Slap Out Arms, and we're here now interviewing the immortal king of rock and roll, Elvis. How are you, sir?
Well, thank you very much. I've been up here about 40 years now.
Yeah. How are you? You doing all right?
I'm doing all right. Just been sitting around with my hound dog.
I see you got Lisa Marie and Priscilla there.
Yeah. And I got to use my cane every now and then because I'm getting in my 80s.
Yeah, you're getting on up there. Well, let me ask you something. What made you think about giving away Cadillacs?
Well, I wish they'd never done that.
Why is that?
Well, I've been listening on the radio with that old radio guy.
David Ernest?
Yeah. He said you ought not do unwise things with your money.
Well, it's nice to give it away, but it's good to have it when you need it later.
Right, well, that's right. I could have used it. I could have been, he told me the only place I could afford was Slap Out, Alabama.
Well, it's nice up there in Slap Out, or up here in Slap Out.
Yeah,
the assisted living is pretty nice, but you could be like maybe in Hollywood somewhere, or in in Graceland or something. You could have that as an assisted living.
Well, the government took half my money.
The government got
when
half.
When they thought
of
I died, they went in there and they got that inheritance type thing, going on there, and they took. I think I had about $7.7 million. And by the time they got rid of it, I had about $3 million, and I tried to take some of that and come up here and live, where people wouldn't bother me.
Yeah, because they just had to, reach out and touch the king.
That's right. But if I'd listened to somebody like David Ernest, I'd be living up there in Hollywood or someplace nice, down on the beach or someplace. I'm not, there's nothing wrong with slap out. It's just, you got to be slap out of everything.
Yeah, it's kind of quiet around here. It's not any nightlife, I would guess.
That's all right.
You go down to the El Patron and get something to eat, I guess. And down to the boy store to the Piggly Wiggly.
Right. It's all right.
We're close to the lake, too. I mean,
I can't afford a place on the
lake. Well, what you're saying is people, maybe they shouldn't listen to people like, I don't know, Colonel Tom.
That guy is a crook.
He kind of took.
He took half of my money. That's worse than IRS.
He took a lot of your money. You should probably put your trust in somebody like David Ernest, who is an asset preservationist.
Yeah, he sure would have helped me out a lot if I'd listened to him. But I just gotta. All I do is sit up here and with my hound dogs. They ain't nothing but my hound dogs. They cry all the time.
Yeah.
And it's all right, but. I wished I'd listened to somebody and done something different today.
Well, I noticed. I didn't notice a Cadillac out front.
No,
but I did notice one of those 3-wheel bicycles.
Yeah.
With some sequins on it. Is that yours?
Yeah, that's mine.
Okay. Well, you're hanging in there.
Well, I have to get help to get on it.
Yeah. Well, and probably to pedal it too.
Yeah.
Well, Elvis, I'm glad to see you. Glad you're doing all right.
Thank you very much.
Maybe everybody sees this.
Much.
Keep it on the down low where you are. They won't.
Yeah. Keep it on the down low, Dad. I would walk these old hound dogs, but they cry when I do that.
Well, you don't want that. But if you don't want to wind up in an assisted living in slap out like Elvis here, what you need to do is call David Ernest at 279-7431. That's 279-7431, and he will help keep you out of the slap out assisted living facility there.
Yeah, food ain't too good.
It's not too good. No. I probably don't have any peanut butter and nanner sandwich.
I ain't had one in a long time.
Oh, we'll see.
I go into diabetic coma.
Well, yeah, you don't want that. We'll see if we can work out maybe one with some some sugar-free peanut butter.
That'd be nice.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Elvis.
You're welcome.
And we're going to go back to the studio and the rest of the show now.
Tell that David Ernest to try to help all them people because they don't want to end up.
I'll do it. Thank you for joining us. And what time does bingo start?
I think about 7 p.m.
About 7 p.m. for bingo. Here at the Slap Out Assisted Living.
Coming soon to a motion picture theater near you.
When she walked into his office on the 3rd floor of the Frank Lou building, he knew she had trouble. He knew she had a naked portfolio. Yeah, I've seen it all before. A young, good-looking dame gets out and falls in with the wrong crowd, and before you know it, she's got a naked portfolio. Then what happens? She runs to me for help. Forget it, sister. I know you don't want me. You're just reaching out for help, and I can't give it to you. You need David Ernest. Call him at 279-7431. He can help you cover a naked portfolio. Yeah, I wish things were different. I wish I was the one you wanted, but I know what's what, see? I know David Ernest can help you. I know I wish you'd let me finish my little dramatic speech before you ran out like that. Dames. Sometimes it gets mighty cold and lonely on the 3rd floor of the Frank Lou building. Sam Spud stars in A Naked Portfolio.
It's dark, it's desperate, and it's sexy in the most inappropriate ways.
Rated R for reverse compound interest.
Time now for another adventure with the Lone Ranger. As we open, we see the Lone Ranger and Tanto at camp. Come on, Tanto, we're going into town.
Oh, man, I don't want to go to town, man.
Why not, faithful friend?
You know why not, man. Every time I go to town, they beat me up.
I noticed. I wonder why they do that.
I don't know, man. I'm just minding my own business and they come over and beat me up.
Is it because of something you did?
I don't know.
Oh, maybe you looked at somebody wrong or something.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe your horse looks funny.
What's wrong with my horse, man?
Oh, I'll bet I know what it is.
What, man?
You haven't taken your portfolio over to David Ernest.
Well, you know, I've been meaning to, man. I just haven't had the time.
Well, when we get into town, first thing, we'll take your portfolio right there to David Ernest.
Oh, okay, man.
Or you can call him at 334-279-7431.
Yeah, I think we passed a phone booth on the way there, man.
Then when you get your portfolio all taken care of, the boys will like you.
Boys? Why do I want the boys to like me?
Well, so they won't beat you up.
It's not the boys, man. It's the girls.
What?
Yeah, they're tough.
You know, last time we were in town in the saloon, I saw one boy that liked you.
Shut up, Kimosabi. You ain't funny, man.
Last one in the town buys the drinks.
That ain't fair, man. You got a head start.
Tune in again next time for another great adventure with the Lone Ranger.